standing up, David Lammy said, I'm incredibly concerned, everyone says that, I'm incredibly concerned about, medical facilities, civilian buildings being struck in Lebanon. And so did Anthony Blinken, and he said, we're sending $150 million to help America and Britain, America in particular, providing those bombs. So America is providing the bombs that are smashing Beirut and the south of Lebanon to pieces, and then he's saying we're going to come in and help. It feels to everyone here that the international order is broken, and the more that they're told that as Arabs, as Lebanese, their lives can be subjugated to this overall conflict between Islamic militias and Israel, the less they feel that actually the West is right about Hezbollah, and the more they feel, well, perhaps they have a point.
Ilham, special correspondent for PBS News, and we're joining us from Beirut. Ilham, there's one more as well, so he's UN humanitarian coordinator for the West. So thanks so much for joining us on the show this morning. Could you just sketch out for our listeners and viewers the scale of the humanitarian crisis enveloping the country?
I think a lot of what your correspondent just said is really, really spot on in terms of the situation. I think what I would emphasize is that what we've seen over the last 10 weeks, 2 days, has been this incredible escalation, a devastating escalation. So, 2 weeks ago we had maybe 110,000 people displaced in the country, meaning over the whole year, since this started on the 8th of October, about 110,000 displaced. In the last 2 weeks, the number has gone to well over 500,000 and well over 1 million affected and displaced people. So it's a massive, massive humanitarian catastrophe that we're seeing right now, with a huge scale of displacement, as well as a great deal of fatalities and casualties in it. We have now reached 2,000, and the majority seem to be certainly civilians, as your correspondent was also saying.
In terms of what happens now, is there anything that the West, in particular the wider international community, could do on the humanitarian stage alone, just leaving there aside the military element for a moment? Is there anything that the wider international community could do to assist those people?
Before I get to that, the key thing is a ceasefire, right? What we all want is a ceasefire in this, and then to have that move to something sustainable, the implementation of Security Council Resolution 1701. Also, before I get to the assistance and the aid that's needed, we also need respect of international humanitarian law. Your correspondent was talking about a new normal, which is really dangerous. It's really, really extremely worrying if we're going to accept this. It's the 75th year of the Geneva Conventions, and Geneva Conventions were about rules of war, about how you protect civilians and how you ensure that frontline workers, that health workers, and that whole community that's trying to assist people in a war is allowed to function. And what we're seeing are attacks on that as well as civilian infrastructure. Now, in terms of assistance, yes, we launched an appeal a couple of days ago, a flash appeal for $426 million. We need a great deal of resources. We were extremely under-resourced before this escalation in the last 2 weeks. So yes, that is the appeal that's out there right now.
And in terms of getting that ceasefire, Ms. Reza, we don't seem to be any closer. We've been talking about it for months after month. And yet every week that goes by, every day that goes by, it feels as if it is getting more distant, not closer.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid that seems to be what we're seeing, and that's what is also, I think, heightening the fear and anxiety of people over here. Every day, people first of all, they don't sleep, right? With the level of strikes that are happening, and what happened last night was more than the night before, which was more than the night before that. But one of the first things most of us do in the morning is check on colleagues, because so many of our Lebanese colleagues are constantly moving and dealing with their relatives who have either lost their lives, who got injured, or are displaced. So it is a day-by-day tragedy of that scale.
Ilham Reza, UN humanitarian coordinator for Lebanon. Great. So we want to get your thoughts on everything you've had. 0345 6060973, 0345 6060973. What should the UK government do now? said are very concerned, but at the same time not support efforts to perhaps do the only thing that would really affect the Netanyahu government, which would be to change arms policy in the West more generally. Do you think that that is hypocrisy, or would it be an absolute dereliction of duty to abandon Israel in the situation that it is in when it is fighting a war on so many sides? We'll get your thoughts on all of that. Also, we're going to be hearing more about proposed changes the government is going to make to labour law as well, hearing from the boss of the TUC. Listening to Sunday with Lewis Goodall here on LBC. The time is 11:18.
This is LBC.
Most homes could save with Octopus Energy.
I'm glad to be part of your company now. I've heard about it and then people coming out on the radio and saying about it. I found it genuine.
We're really glad to have you as well.
Octopus Energy. Outstanding value with award-winning customer service. Visit octopus.energy/value for our calculation.
Need to print?
Take a hint. You can get toner and ink
For less than you think.
from cartridgepeople.com. For unbeatable prices, Cartridge People.
Printing?
Sorted.
See online, our price promise.
The Philly cheesesteak is back at McDonald's. 2 beef patties, crispy and grilled onions, cheddar cheese, all topped with a melted cheddar cheese sauce. What could be better? How about playing the Monopoly game with a Philly cheesesteak too? Yes, please. Until 15th of October from 11 a.m. Participating UK restaurants, subject to availability, 18 plus, at may be required. See mcdrules.co.uk.
It's wrong to lower prices on the things you buy least. At Co-op, we lower prices on the things you buy most. The things our members need and use every day. It's just the right thing to do. Co-op. Owned by you, right by you. Shop in store or online.
Co-op membership required. Prices may vary. Selected stores and lines excludes. Independent co-operatives. £1 joining fees. Co-op.co.uk/terms. So, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I've called you in today because Charlie has been using some rather colourful language, and the dinner ladies don't really appreciate it. The word he used was...
Some conversations aren't worth the trouble. People used to think talking about your finances was one of them. But with a My Money review at Skipton Building Society, you can get advice that helps you make more sense of your money, and it's completely free. That's one less conversation you'll regret later.
I want 50 lines off. I will not teach my children bad language.
Online under the firm or in branch. Search Skipton Building Society to find out more.
Most homes would save with Octopus Energy. Outstanding value with award-winning customer service. Visit octopus.energy/value for our calculation.
This is LBC Sunday with Lewis Goodall. Call 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Alexa, send a comment to LBC.
Time is 11:20. Let's just check back in with Aggie Chambray, LBC's political correspondent, because we were telling you at the very start of the show there's been this rumbling this morning about whether or not Sue Gray, the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, is still his Chief of Staff. And Aggie, it feels like, I mean, you heard what Peter Carl said to me, where he refused to sort of go into it, refused to say whether she'll still be there at the end of the month, refused to even say whether she's still in post today. They just come on the line that they don't want to comment on it. But it's starting to feel more and more obvious, isn't it?
Well, I think the silence that we have had from number 10 for the last, I mean, it was kind of 7 o'clock last night that we started asking questions. We haven't heard anything since. And then that exchange between you and Peter Carl, I thought was really, really striking. I mean, just a simple question of, is she still in post at the moment? Can you put that as a really simple question to answer? And she sort of said, he said, well, I've spoken to her this morning, and then went on to say, I won't comment on any public stuff because it's not appropriate for me to. But it just, you know, our context for the Sunday Times, them saying it's a question of whether or not air and the rumours that we are hearing, and the silence from the tech, it sounds like something's afoot. Few